Hey everybody, welcome to another exciting episode of Javier in the Air. I have to get used to my camera being up here rather than over here. So if you see me looking and dancing around, I'm not nervous. I'm just trying to remember where my camera is. Okay, so thank you for coming and watching another episode of Javier in the Air. This is season 3, episode 28. Yes, it is 3 whole seasons, I'm into my 3rd season. Doing well, getting a lot of things going. I'm hoping to add some individuals onto the show, talk a little bit about what they do and that sort of thing. So if you're interested, just shoot me a note. Also want to give props to the opening music. This was Supernova. If you like the music, you can look them up online, put in Supernova and Wondershare Filmora, which is the editing software I use. So this is royalty-free music that I get through this editing software, through this subscription that I have with them. So from time to time I get asked where I find my music from. And it really is what strikes me when I start recording this podcast, and it's also, and I have to be honest, it also has to be what's royalty free, so that I don't have to worry about YouTube cutting me off or, other websites that I post this podcast on cut me off because they consider it to be non-royalty free or royalty music, I should say. So anyway, enough about that. Got a wonderfully packed-filled podcast for everyone. I'm going to try to get through it as quickly as I can because I'm trying to keep things to a minimum so that I can keep your interest. So also as a side note, if anybody is looking to talk about their mom and pop shop, or if they want to be on the show, or if they have some comments or thoughts or anything of how I should change things, just let me know. So you will see some new things on here. I added in my kind of my lorem ipsum, more of my don't sue me for my stuff because it is my stuff type of thing that I put in right after the opening bit. So the discussion today is going to be about trash in the hood. So I'm still walking the hood, still picking up the trash. In fact, I got a new grabber, which a lot of people, thank you for your concern about putting my hands on things that could be all nasty and yucky. I was trying to use my gardening gloves, but they're too thick, and I already have some sensation problems, so I couldn't grab it well enough. So I was trying to use then some nitrile gloves that I had. The problem with that is that I sweat like a pig, and there's sweat running out of my gloves, and it still makes it hard to pick up again. So I've got a grabber, which I have to say is fantastic. I can move things around so that I can use the grabber to put it into the trash. Now I still have to line up the trash in order for you to see all the trash that I found, and that I still try to use long gloves, but it's still a problem. But I do wash my hands before I go out, and I wash my hands after I come back, and then I also put some Purell on there, so just to be extra doubly, triply safe. Okay, so trash in the hood, and then I have a Zen moment back for us, and then I have the update to my stones project, which goes around my trunk project. And then if I can fit it in, we'll also have not try to fit it in. If we try to fit it in, we'll try to fit in a beer review. But what I also have is a new bottom line discussing the Great Resignation versus the Great Regret. And you'll hear more about that soon. So let's just go to where I was walking in the hood. I also have something bonus on top at the end of the walk, something I thought was really cool, and it just looks awesome. So I laughed at it out loud while I was walking the street. So I'll show it to you at the end of walking the hood. So here we go. Okay, so here is day 1. Wasn't much out there. I was surprised. This was a Monday, August 1st. Beverage can, the normal run of cigarette butts, some bits of plastic, and then some weird string or something like that. So I was happy. But then day 2 started, and I'm like, oh, we're back to normal. And by the way, these are different streets that I'm going on. So this is a huge piece of plastic, a penny, a tow truck hitch lock, beverage cans, some containers, plastic, a couple of to-go containers, a good amount of cigarette butts, some straws that looked like they weren't even used; they were still in the packaging, and it looks like the Sutter Home person is back. So day 3, I was getting my booster done, so I didn't do much. But day 4, different route, of course, than day 2. And so here's cigarette butts, bits of plastic, a can. Can't remember what that was. Beverage lid with straw, and bits of plastic and paper and cardboard and stuff like that. So overall, wasn't that bad. Then I hit a new area for week 5, and it got crazy. So here's a busted up hubcap cover, which someone actually said it was theirs. Some cigarette boxes. The Truly drinkers are back. Plastic. It looks like an old antenna. Beverage containers, metal, and a plastic bag. So better than average haul. Now, yesterday, Saturday, day 6, huge haul. Most of that was on hatch. You see a large amount of paper from some adhesive backing, or it was the backing to an adhesive strip. Beverage containers, plastic, rubber, about 25 to 27 at least cigarette butts, lots of paper, lots of bits of metal, no money, and then it was so much I had to put it on the back of my truck. So Friday, actually Thursday, I was quite happy to find this little guy. So it looks like if you look in the background, a house just had a new fence put up, and then they xeriscaped most of their lawn, which I thought was fantastic. This is something my mother's been thinking about. So here's another shot of it. It looks like Kid Taco and his sidekick Jalapeno Boy, or at least that's what I'm calling them. So it was really cool. So if you see it on the street, enjoy it. It's great. There you have it. So, a lot of trash, and unfortunately, I was talking to some people on and getting comments from people on Nextdoor. Which, by the way, thank you for your comments. If you're watching the podcast, please continue with them, and I hope you will continue to watch my podcast. But also, so we were talking a little bit about how much trash myself, and actually there's a bunch of other people that also do this when they walk through a neighborhood, as to the amount that I'm finding. You would think that it may peter off at some point, but the problem is, and I was having this discussion with one of them, is that a lot of these streets that I'm walking on are feeder streets, or I guess that's one way to say it. They are access from one major street to another. So, for example, El Salito Parkway, it's not really a major street. It's not. It's pretty long, and it's pretty good size, so it's not bad. It's still not. It's still not 620, but it connects 620 to Cypress Creek, and those are two bigger, more major streets, and so it's a major throughput or crossway to get to those streets than going some other way. I mean, and it's sometimes it's the only way to get to an area in Cypress Creek from 620 and vice versa. So because of that, and then we have new construction going on around this neighborhood, specifically down 620, around 620 and 183. They're building a new children's hospital, and then they're doing a flyover, a new flyover that's supposed to reduce some of the traffic pain points. Not reducing the traffic, it's reducing the traffic pain points, and some of some of what it causes. So, which may be bad for business, which I may be talking about in a couple seasons, how the business may be hurting in that area. But anyway, so there's a flyover coming over on that. So there's a huge number and an increasing number of construction trucks contractors with their trucks, and so on and so forth that are driving through these areas. Hatch, another great example of another road that is a connector that goes from 620 down to, um, I want to say Cypress Creek as well, if not even further. And so those roads are being heavily used. And, I get it. Stuff flies off of a garbage truck. Some stuff flies off from, a contractor truck, even though they should be storing their garbage and their waste, making it secure so that they can throw it away somewhere. But that's a whole nother thing. And, some of these big, huge construction trucks have, that debris that they've picked up and everything. I get that. And because of the increase of that, you're going to see more and more of that. But some of that stuff was just crazy. The busted hubcap, cigarette butts. People who are smokers think they're doing a good thing by pinching off so that they don't start any fires. But if you're going to go ahead and pinch off so that the tobacco's gone and it's just a filter, why not keep the filter and throw the filter away rather than toss it into the street? But whatever, that's not it's not here nor there. I don't see them smoking, so I'm not going to say anything. Plus, I'm not going to say anything because in this day and age, more than likely it gets shot. So anyway, let's go on to something else. I started on and took on what has become a Herculean task, in that it's going to take a lot more work than I thought. So this is my stone project. I'm not sure how I'm going to try to, if I can find an efficient and shortcut way to do what I want. But let me show you what I got and we'll go from there. So here's my start of the stone or JavHenge project. So here we are with the Cobblestone Project, or JavHenge as some people like to call it. It's not quite going according to plan. So the plan was buy some concrete or cement, put them inside of baggies, color the cement, put them inside of baggies, and then place them at various strategic locations until you fill it all up, whatever your thing is, which is, for me, turned out to be quite a large diameter JavHenge. So I bought the Quickcrete, thinking that I should be quick enough to fill up the bags and get the bags out there before it starts to dry and set inside of the mixing container. So it turns out I was wrong. I am slower than I want to admit, and so some of the bags at the end, the bags are full of kind of crunchy concrete, and I don't know whether I should have used concrete or cement. Probably cement, because it's going to be smooth. But now the color stones are going to be concrete, so I think I'm going to use cement for the other ones. This is what it looks like. So here we have the back side, and you can see some of the stones. They're still in the baggies. So what you do is you put them in the baggies and you let them cure, and then you burn the baggies off, at least the top sections of it. You see how that one got crunchy? That was the last bag I put in there. So I think what I'll do is the cement for the rest, because they'll come out smooth when I put them in the bags, whether they're lopsided or anything. I don't care if they're lopsided. That's the whole cobblestone effect. So we'll see. I'll keep you up to date. Okay, so there you have the Cobblestone Project, Stone Project, JavHenge Project, however you want to do it. If you've tried this, I saw this on Pinterest, so I thought it would be interesting to do. I, of course, overshot by doing way more larger area than I probably should have. I should have done half the size as far as the rings around it. But I liked it when I laid it out, and I liked the ability to be able to put chairs out there and see how things are. And yeah, so I thought it'd be cool. And it seems to match well with the trunk project. So I was like, okay, so that's good. As I started putting the stones down, as I put the first like 3 or 4 or 5 stones down, I started thinking to myself, oh, I really bit off more than I can chew. So it's going to be interesting if I can find a easier way to do it. Now, Like I said in the video, I am definitely not going to go with the red bag. Let me say that again, the red bag of Quikrete. So the thing about the red bag is that it's really meant for like setting posts when you're doing decking and stuff like that. It's meant to mix easily, which it did. It's meant to set quickly, which it definitely did. And it's meant to then cure quickly as well. So the problem I had is that I was not, like I mentioned, I wasn't quick enough to get the last 2 bags of every. I did 1 bag of cement, by the way, 1 bag of cement, cement dye, water. The last 1 or 2 baggies that I'm filling there, um, I was really pushing it because like I said, it was getting crunchy because it was already setting. So I'm gonna have to stay away from the red bag, maybe go to the yellow bag of Quikrete. And because I was also thinking about cement, but I was talking to someone yesterday and they were like, cement, you're gonna have to add sand, and then also now it's gonna make these cobblestones uneven with the other cobblestones, which this is going to be uneven anyway. So people might stumble or they might have problems, which this is not meant to dance on. This is not meant to be running around on. It's meant to walk on there or to sit on the chair on there. So hopefully, and it's already at an angle as it goes away from that trunk. So it's not level. So I didn't make it so that it's level. And I did that on purpose. I didn't want it to be level because then on one side it's going to be like this high with sand, and on the other hand it's going to be on that side because that's how big of a difference is on the angle of my yard. So I didn't want to do that. So it's meant more for just a visual thing. You sit there, maybe there's a burning chimney or something on top of the trunk. I don't think I want to do that, but I could do that. So anyway, we'll see how it goes over the next couple of weekends. So I'll definitely keep you posted on that. Okay, so I need to look at. I want to do the bottom line, and I'm trying to decide whether I should do it before or after the Zen. I think I want to do it before the Zen because I think we're going to need to come down after that. So let me take a quick break. I'll come back and we'll talk. We'll do the bottom line. And we're back. Welcome to the bottom line with Javier. So, I was reading some articles this past week about the Great Resignation and now the Great Regret. So, the Great Resignation, I think I touched a little bit on it when I talked about people wanting to um, follow their heart, follow their passion, and so on. And so we're beginning to do mass exodus to a lot of the companies that they used to work for. Well, I hadn't heard anything. I mean, I was having a suspicion, but I hadn't read anything until just this past week about what was the outcome of that. So, as I mentioned in the first bottom line, is that some people went with their heart and their passion and they quit their jobs and they went to go find a better job, either making better pay or a better job that fills with the passion that they have for life or whatever their passion was about. And then others just wanted to just work from home, and their job was telling them they needed to be back in the office, and so they quit on that or resigned on that respect. Which, tangent by the way, quitting and resigning are really two different things. Resigning means you give notice, and the big corporations and all the corporations have hardwired us after many, many, many years that it is corporately appropriate to give 2 weeks notice. Now, if you've been in the business long enough, you also try to give 2 weeks notice because we've been hardwired into that. To resign and give 2 weeks notice. Quitting is just I quit and you walk out right there and then and that's it. Resigning
you give 2 weeks notice. However, there is no real guideline. I mean, some hiring agents and some headhunters and some, staffing agencies and stuff like that will tell you you need to give 2 weeks notice. But there's no written rule, hard rule that says you have to give 2 weeks notice. Now, I've always given 2 weeks notice, if not more, but that's because I'm an idiot. But you don't have to. And you know what? There's no repercussions. If you already have a job, you don't need to give 2 weeks notice. That a new employer, well, if you already have the job, you don't have to worry about it, right? So why does it matter? And a newer if you're trying to get a new job, they can only call and ask if you were employed with them and during what was the time period you were employed, not the circumstances that how you left, and not whether you gave 2 weeks notice. So there really is, in the corporate world, there is no reason that you have to give 2 weeks notice. It's just saying there, and again, what we've been pushed is that be professional. But I digress. I'm sorry. I'll go back to what I was talking about. So it turns out a lot of people were, and they called this, I forgot the name of the journalist who coined the term, the Great Resignation. So the Great Resignation, people were leaving for multiple reasons, like we just discussed. And it was interesting for them, shall I say. So the article says that they've interviewed a lot of people, thousands of people across the country. Yes, I know we're, billion person country, but you can only do so much in order to get the article out, right? So they've interviewed thousands of people who would quit their job as part of the Great Resignation to go out and get a better job, get better pay, do something that they're passionate about. Well, what they're finding is that over 50% regret that they left the job that they had. So, and now it has been coined the Great Regret. So, what they're finding out, when this article was going on to say, and of course, again, like I said, it's only the people they interviewed. Over 50% said that they would, that they regret quitting their job. A large percentage of them, and I don't remember the numbers, but you can find the article, said that it wasn't. They went and got what they thought was a better job, and it turns out it wasn't a better job. So again, that grass is always greener on the other side, and there's a reason why that saying has been around forever. So they quit, got a new job, found out their new job either sucks or wasn't what they thought it was, or it turns out they weren't really passionate about the business they were in, and a lot of them did get better pay. So they went with what they were passionate about, and it turns out what they're passionate about just doesn't pay what they were expecting, which goes back to what I talked about last week about salary expectations. So if you want to go off and be a beekeeper because you want to help the bees survive during the problem that they're having, and you want to sell honey, and you want to mark your place in the world by being ecologically friendly, and do that, do it. Are you going to get paid a lot? No. Is it going to be tough, especially if you try to start a business? Hell yeah, it's going to be tough. But why would you think it wouldn't be? And so either and then you find out more about yourself. Are you truly wanting to do it because you want to improve your footprint in the world, and you want to be ecologically conscionable? You know what I'm talking about. Do you want to help out the bees? Did you truly want to do that? Or did you think that did you really want more money, and you thought that doing what you loved would give you that much more money? Well, it turns out, like I said before, passion doesn't always equate to more dollar signs. If you want to be a beekeeper, go for it. I think it's great. I personally have always thought about wanting to do that, but I also know that if I do that, I'm not going to be able to do a lot of the things that I do now. So I don't do that. Maybe that'd be a good retirement hobby for me. Or maybe if I ever won the lottery, maybe I could go off and do that, and do a lot of the businesses that I talk about with my dad, and a lot of businesses that I talk about with other people that we'd love to start, but that requires money. So passion does not equal dollars. So the article continued and said that they regretted it. They found out it didn't pay as well. They found out that they weren't really passionate about what they thought they were. Now, hopefully, don't quit before you really fully realize what you're passionate about, and that's what you want to do. And again, doesn't equal dollars. So, and a percentage of the people also said that the job that they got got a better job turned out to be even worse. And that's another thing that people fall into is that remember your job is not just what you do, but it's how you do it and who you do it with. So if you have a job that you love because of the people that you love, or you love the people you work with, chances are you might want to stay at that job. Now, of course, if you have a family or you're struggling, financially, then you may still have to go get a better job. But don't expect that people who, you love the people at job A and you go to job B and you friggin' hate the people at job B, but it pays better. So then you're in that quandary that a lot of people are, which was, do I stay and get and keep the money, or do I go and either go back or try to find a job C at company C that may or may not pay better, and you may or may not love the people you work with. So yes, if you're working from home, it may make it a little bit easier, but you still have to communicate to people. So you may still, you still have to work with coworkers, whether you work from home full time or not. And if a person you work with makes your life miserable remotely, and then you have to go to an office, guess what? It's probably going to be worse when they go to the office. So that was part of the article. And finally, the last part of the article, and the last part of the article I remember in this order, was that if they had the opportunity, almost 60% of the people, if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure it was in the 60s, 60% of the people surveyed said they would go back to their old job. There's the big regret. So the bottom line is, if you resigned because you wanted to get a better job, or you wanted to do what you were passionate about, or you thought you were passionate about, and then it turns out that it's not what you thought it was going to be, that's the great regret. So the bottom line is, it happens. This is a part of growing in your career, whether you're as old as I am or older, or you're just starting out. These are things you learn when you're on your career path. See you next time.
And we're back. I'm sorry. I'm getting that camera thing is still getting me. I wish my chair was a little bit higher because then I could look directly into it. Anyway, that was the bottom line. If you have an opinion for the bottom line, be sure and send me a note. Drop me a comment on YouTube. If you are on Facebook with me, shoot me a direct message. If you don't want everybody to know your opinion on it, send me a note on Facebook, Instagram, anything and everything you can do to try to get a hold of me. Hell, why don't you text me, or I don't know, call me and tell me your concerns as well, or that you liked it, or you want to add to it, and I can certainly get it on the show next week. So I think we're going to go straight into a Zen moment, and then I'll run downstairs and I'll get today's beer for the beer review. So let's have a little Zen. Clouds in the sky almost bring a tear to my eye. Dark and yet white and light. We hope for rain, I say, and not just me, and not just for today, but rain to wet the sky and wet my yard and wet my eye. We hope that rain cometh soon, whether early or late in the afternoon. clouds. Clouds. Hey everybody. Looks like we're running a bit long, so I just went straight into our Spirit Times. I hope you liked my new opening intro for Spirit Times. I get to add the actual what I'm drinking, what spirit I'm drinking today. So it looks like I pulled from House Storage a coffee porter from the Great Divide Brewing Company. Now, those of you who have watched the show over the many seasons, and those of you who may not but know of Great Divide, they're out of Denver, Colorado, and this is they're normally I'll have almost all of their Yetis on here because they keep coming out with more and more fantastic Yetis with different flavors and that sort of thing. I think the last one I had on here may have been the peanut butter one, and it was fantastic. So this time I'm bringing you something a little different. This is their coffee porter. And let me see if I can get this. Yes. Coffee porter, limited release, and it's a collaboration. So let me see if I can get the ABV on here. 6.5, so not super high, but not pitifully low either. It is a porter. So this is, let's see. Here we go. Coffee porter. No shortcuts were taken to create this perfect pairing of coffee and beer. Whiskey barrels that once held Yeti Imperial Stout were filled with green coffee beans sourced from Mexico and provided by our favorite local purveyor, which is Pablo's Coffee. Once the beans were infused with characteristics of both barrel and Yeti, they were roasted and integrated into the coffee porter that you hold in your hand. Cheers. So let me put the mic down for a minute and let me pour myself this coffee porter. So while I'm doing this, we're going to, as always, Spirit Times, name brought to you by my mother, Ma, as I call her. Here we go. A lot of foam on there. I can already smell the coffee wafting off of the head here on the beer. It's still relatively early for me. It's only 11:30 here in Cedar Park, so I thought a coffee porter was also appropriate. I'm always looking for new spirits and beers, so if you have a favorite beer, by all means, certainly let me know. You know how to reach me. I've already talked about it a million times. If you have a favorite alcohol, I'm always trying to find something new and unique to get on the show. So let me know what may be your favorite alcohol. And then if you have a favorite wine, let's try to stay reasonable. I mean, I don't like myself enough to buy $150 bottle of wine, especially since I'm having it on the show. I won't get to enjoy it with others. So unless you'd like to buy a bottle and bring it and join me, and then we can certainly have a review that way. So let me get the rest of this beer in here, or try to. Yeah, I made it in. I waited long enough. So there it is. Dark, smoky looking, as all coffee porters should be. Wonderful coffee on the front end. Maybe a little bit of a whiskey barrel, but not much. Well, I have to say I'm a little disappointed with the taste. It's not bang for your buck type of thing. It's not boom. Here we are, coffee porter. It's not bad. I would probably have it with let's see, maybe a German chocolate cake, maybe cinnamon rolls, maybe even a babka. Um, Maybe a buñuelo. You know what I mean? I'm trying to cross as many cultures as I can on here. Um, it's good. I would definitely drink it in a bar or at a restaurant for brunch or something like that. And certainly, I would drink it at the boutique, which is where I got it in the first place. Thanks again, Scott and Jana, for being out there at the boutique for me. Um, so I would give this probably a 6 thumbs. It's solid. It's good. Um, I would definitely, if we were looking for coffee porter tasting, I'd probably add it to the mix. But it's not what I get from the Yeti, which I shouldn't judge it on that alone. But it kind of does influence my thinking. But it's good. So it's a good solid 6, which is not bad on a scale of 1 to 10 thumbs. 6 thumbs. So there you have it. Coffee porter by Great Divide Brewing Company out of Denver, Colorado. Oh, hey, sorry. Like I said, it's a good solid 6. So um, there you have it. Thank you for watching today's episode of Javier in the Air. If you have a topic that you'd like to discuss or if you'd like for me to bring up on the bottom line, be sure and just drop me a message, get a hold of me, however you know how to get a hold of me, and we'll certainly have it. If you'd like to be on the show to discuss the topic that you bring or any other topic, shoot me a line and let me know. I'm always looking for someone to have on the show so that we could have a true discussion going on between myself and whoever. And if it's more than one person, that'll be great. We can have a round robin type of thing, meet the press type sort of thing. Excuse me, that was good beer, not bad manners. So just let me know. If you have a mom and pop business and you'd like to bring them on the show and show it, or like for me to go out to your location and interview you, by all means, just let me know and that'll be great. So I'm trying to cut it short. Excuse me again. Good beer, not bad manners. Thank you for watching. Welcome to everybody who has come to watch. I appreciate it. I hope you stay and will continue to watch more episodes of Javier in the Air. As we start actually cooling down, which I know I joke, but it was only like 100 degrees yesterday and not 106 or 108, then I might start doing more things outside. And I will probably try to start, not probably, I will start trying to get the tasting parties up again. So we'll stay tuned for that. And I'll see everybody next week. Thanks a lot, everybody.